indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we call on the district clerk to take a roll call.
Adam Smith,
Here.
Julie Epstein,
Here.
Sandra Alvarez,
Here.
Deborah Brooks,
Here.
Rachel Gilliar,
Here.
Nanette Melkonian,
Here.
Jessica Melwani,
Here.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. That's the May 5th, 2026 agenda. Is there a second? Ms. Melwani, all in favor? 7-0. Tonight's agenda is adopted. At this time, I turn the mic over to Dr. Chris Shields, who will be running the tenure ceremony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith, and thank you to the entire school board. I'd like to welcome all of the staff who are here this evening, and it's so wonderful that many of you have also invited family and friends. Tonight is a joyous celebration when we recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of our colleagues who have received tenure either this evening or at some other point in the school year, and those educators that have also decided to retire at the end of this school year. Receiving tenure is an accomplishment for administrators, teachers, and teaching assistants that marks the conclusion of an intense probationary period. This year, we have 35 educators receiving tenure. Not all tonight, but throughout the school year. We're also honoring 18 teachers who have decided to retire at the end of this school year. At this time, Mr. Smith, I invite you up for your comments.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. Good evening and welcome. Tonight is one of those truly special moments in the life of the Port Washington school community, an opportunity to pause, reflect, and recognize the people who are at the very heart of our work. It is especially meaningful that we gather during Teacher Appreciation Week, a time when communities across the country pause to recognize the impact of educators. In Port, that appreciation is not limited to a single week, but tonight gives us a particularly fitting opportunity to express it in a more personal and lasting way. As a Board of Education, we spend much of our time focused on budgets, policies, and planning for the future. But evenings like this remind us that what makes Port exceptional is not only the strength of our programs, but the people who bring them to life each day. In every classroom, rehearsal space, playing field, and hallway, it is our educators who create the experiences that shape our students. This evening, we have the privilege of celebrating two meaningful milestones in an educator's journey. First, we recognize those receiving tenure. Tenure reflects the trust the district places in you, not only in your professional skill, but in your commitment to our students and the values that define our work. You have demonstrated your ability to support students academically, socially, and emotionally, helping them grow into the learners and individuals we describe in our portrait of a graduate. We also gather tonight to honor our retirees, individuals whose impact across the school community is both profound and lasting. Many of you have dedicated decades to this work. You have taught generations of Port students, supported families, mentored colleagues, and helped sustain the strong student-centered culture that defines this district. In many cases, your influence extends far beyond the classroom into the lives and futures of the students you have guided. There is something especially meaningful about recognizing tenure and retirement together. One represents a beginning and the other a culmination, but together they reflect the community of our schools and the shared commitment from one generation of educators to the next. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to express our sincere gratitude. To our tenure recipients, we are proud of your accomplishments and excited for all that lies ahead. To our retirees, we thank you for the lasting legacy you leave behind, one that will continue to shape this district for years to come. This is what makes Port special. Congratulations to all of our honorees.
And Dr. Posse, if you would please come up.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. Good evening, everyone. And thank you again for your words this evening, Mr. Smith. This really is one of my favorite events of the year. In a profession that moves as quickly as ours does, where one day blends into the next, we do not always get a chance to pause and take stock. Tonight gives us that opportunity, a moment to slow down, to reflect, and reconnect with why this work matters so deeply. I was so touched to see the pictures that many of you put forward. We asked each of the tenure recipients to put forward a picture of them in their class with their students, a picture of them with their colleagues, and a picture of them with their family. And I think just seeing your entire world on one slide really was so very impactful. So we thank you for that. And I also want to thank Ms. Vullen for putting the slideshow together. If we can give her a round of applause. And I want to thank Ms. Baglio and our amazing tech department for making this entire program run. So thank you. So I've had the privilege of being in, I think in all of the classrooms of the tenure recipients and most of the classrooms of the retirees. And what I can tell you that I'm most touched by is the heart and care that you bring to this work. In everything that you do, every lesson you plan, every conversation you have, every moment of patience, encouragement, or even redirection, it all finds its way into a life of a child, and you can see that. Sometimes we see that impact right away, but more often we really do not. But it's there, shaping how students see themselves, how they experience school, and in many ways shaping who they are becoming. To our tenure recipients, congratulations. Tenure is not just a milestone, it is a statement of trust. It reflects the confidence this district has in your work, your judgment, and the way you show up for students each and every day. You've demonstrated not only skill, but perhaps most importantly, you've demonstrated care. That you understand that this work is not simply about delivering content, but about reaching students, about knowing them, about supporting them, and about helping to shape their lives. And while tonight marks an important milestone, it is not a finish line. It really is a beginning. It is tonight, at this point, where your influence grows, where your voice carries further, where your leadership, whether in your classroom, your department, or across this district, helps shape the experiences our students have every single day, and our students need that from you. They need adults who are not only skilled, but grounded, who are thoughtful, reflective, and committed to growing alongside them, and each of you have shown that in the way you show up each and every day for our students. To our retirees, thank you, truly. It's difficult to put into words what a career in education represents because it cannot be measured in years alone. The real measure is in moments. It's in the student who felt seen because of you, the student who found the courage to try because you created a space where it felt safe to do so, the student who began to believe in themselves because you believed in them first. There are young people out in the world right now who carry a piece of you with them. You may not fully know the extent of your impact, but it's there. It continues forward long after they have left your classrooms. This is what a career in this profession means. And as you step into what comes next, I hope you carry with you a great sense of pride in what you've done and a deep understanding of the lives you've touched and the difference you've made. The Port Washington community is deeply grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you for all that you've done on behalf of our students, and congratulations.
Thank you both. Mr. Smith, at this time, would the board please vote on Resolution 4.1, the awarding of tenure?
We would certainly do so. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 4.1, award of tenure. Do we have a second? Ms. Brooks? All in favor? 7-0. The tenure is awarded.
Thank you very much. I will now call each tenure recipient up to receive a flower from the district. A applause as I call each person up are clearly welcomed. Before we begin, I would also like to thank Shannon Volin for creating the slideshow that you will get to see as we call each individual up. And we will begin with Daly's principal, Lucia LaGuardia. Congratulations. And from Daly, Michelina Ditzel. Erica Castell. And Laura Ottaviano. From Guggenheim, Dr. Gia Campagna. And from Manor Haven, Victoria Devine. Jonathan Kabrinsky. Nicole Lalena. Felicia Mari. Dr. Maria Tucillo. And from Salem, Alexandra Fields. And Danielle Stolnecker. Congratulations. From Schreiber, Sarah Blackman. And Marina Kulajani Guthenberg. Samantha Cusano. Alyssa Zarnecki. Terrence Farrell. Jessica Kearns. Katya Harletta. Michelle Sokol. Julia Tagliava. And Elizabeth Zucker. Congratulations. Of course. From Susa, Michelle Bush. Emily Kellner. Mina Myman. Samantha Emshar. And Lauren Rendino. From Weber, Monica Chuchon. And Caitlin Gerondell. In a district-wide position, Dr. Kelly Marzocchi. Teaching assistant from Daly, Jennifer Capobianco. Congratulations. And from Schreiber as a teaching assistant, we have Diane Luger-Moen. Congratulations. Yep. Sebnem McMahon. And Sandra Wilding. And from Weber, we have Olga Maschos. Could we please have all the tenure recipients rise for a final round of applause? So the next part of our program is to recognize our retiring educators. They've been committed to our students, colleagues, and community for much of their careers, and we thank them for all of their contributions. I will call them up each individually, and they will receive a nice engraved bell and also a flower. And by the way, for those of you who have already received the flowers, the goal is to put those on so when we go to the reception, we can all recognize who's being honored tonight. So if you could do that between now and the time we get to the reception, it's appreciated. Ms. Bowen, we're ready? All right. Retiring from Daly, Susan O'Brien. And from Guggenheim, Colleen DeRue. And from Manor Haven, Beatrice Gavin. Also from Manor Haven, Patricia Rex. And Sherry Salazar. It's only fitting that we called them up at the same time, isn't it? From Salem, Marilyn Tertz Friedman. And from Schreiber, we have Miranda Best. Congratulations, Miranda. And shared between Schreiber and Weber, we have Arthur Cook. Congratulations, Arthur. And from Schreiber, Luis Gallego. From Sousa, Julie Anzalone. Also from Sousa, Patricia Waska. Congratulations. From Weber Middle School, Dr. Guillermina Garcia. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for keeping track. From Weber, Dr. Davis Hollis. And from Weber, Christine Kearns. Congratulations. Of course, Kristen. Stacy Mullins. Elizabeth Shirian. And also from Weber, Laura Stave. Congratulations. All right, could all of our retirees please stand up for one final round of applause? Yep. So we will now have comments from the leadership of our administrators, teachers, and paraprofessionals. The administrator representatives could come to the podium first.
Good evening, Board of Education, Central Administration. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dr. Meg Sheehan, and I am here with Dr. Kimberly Liccato. We are the co-presidents of the APSA unit, and it is our honor to recognize and celebrate our colleagues this evening. To those receiving tenure, this milestone reflects your dedication, professionalism, and commitment to your students and school community. You have demonstrated the knowledge, care, professionalism, and perseverance to succeed as educators for many years to come. We are so proud to stand alongside you, and we wish you nothing but the most beautiful career ahead.
To our retirees, thank you. Your years of service have left a lasting imprint on this district. Through your guidance, compassion, and expertise, you have shaped countless lives and strengthened our school community in ways that will endure far beyond your time in our classrooms. Our wish for you is that this next chapter is filled with rest, relaxation, and all the best life has to offer to you. We would also like to take a moment to acknowledge our colleague, Ms. LaGuardia, for her well-earned tenure as an elementary principal of Daly. Your leadership, vision, collaboration, and commitment to students truly represent what it means to be a Daly star. We appreciate your friendship, collegiality, flexibility, and we're certain that you're going to do wonderful things for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Posse, Dr. Shields, and the school board for asking me to speak this evening on behalf of the PWTA. We're so excited to be here to celebrate our retiring teachers and teachers being granted tenure. Last month, the PWTA celebrated all those who are retiring from the school district, along with those who have served 25 years and received tenure last year. Retirement is a bittersweet moment for us in the PWTA. We're so happy for you and what you will do in your next chapter in your life, but we also feel the loss of losing master teachers who have dedicated their lives to the Port Washington schools. And for tenured teachers, it is an achievement to receive tenure in Port Washington. It represents years of focusing on learning the art and science of teaching by constant reflection and improvement. The PWTA will celebrate you at our next spring at our milestone party. And on behalf of all the members of the PWTA, congratulations on this remarkable achievement.
Thank you. And Michelle Ciro?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. On behalf of the paraprofessional unit, we would like to address the retirees. You have been a great force behind so many breakthroughs. Your ability to see the potential in every student and your tireless work to help them realize it has left an indelible mark on our district and those you have mentored. Thank you for your patience and your kindness and your advocacy. As you transition to this next chapter, may you find the same joy and fulfillment in your retirement that you provided to our students each day. Thank you for your service and congratulations on your retirement. And now to our tenured teaching assistants. It is with great pride that we congratulate you on officially achieving tenure. This milestone is a testament to your hard work, your professional growth, and commitment to our students. We are incredibly fortunate to have you in our paraprofessional community. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. And now, if we have any community members that wish to speak before we transition to the reception, please come forward to the podium.
good evening. My name is Matt L'Enfant, and I'm the Executive Vice President of the ED Foundation, the Education Foundation at Port Washington. As partner in education, we are proud to help teachers maximize learning in their classroom. But if there's no good teacher, there's no learning. We wanted to congratulate all our teachers who are receiving tenure, as this marks your very strong commitment to the students and to the families of this community. We, of course, would like to congratulate all the teachers stepping into retirement. You all for sure left a mark in the lives of your colleagues, but most importantly, of the students. They will carry your influence forward for the rest of your life, of their lives. And we're grateful for every moment you devoted to helping our children grow. The Ed Foundation is grateful for the chance to support this celebration. After the program, we invite you to join for some refreshments in the cafeteria. Once again, congratulations to you all, and thank you for everything you've done and everything you continue to inspire. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. I'd like to begin by congratulating all the teachers and staff of the Port Washington community on their well-earned tenure and retirements. It's truly a privilege to be here to recognize our daily principal, Lucia LaGuardia, on achieving tenure, an accomplishment that reflects not only a number of years, but the impact she is making on our school. Lucia, since I know you'll tease me for calling you Miss LaGuardia, over the past 3 years, I've had the opportunity to get to know you in my roles as HSA president. Throughout that time, one thing has remained constant. You show up, you follow through, and you care deeply. You advocate tirelessly for our students, our staff, and our families. You have fostered a strong and genuine partnership with the HSA, one grounded in mutual respect and shared commitment to our school. You welcome our involvement with weekly meetings, daily emails, and text messages. You value our perspective as parents, and that collaboration truly makes a difference. As a parent, I can say you really listen. Even when there isn't an immediate answer, there's reassurance in knowing you hear us and you take our concerns to heart. Sometimes that's exactly what we need. Your empathy and understanding have helped build a strong sense of trust within our community. Congratulations, and thank you for everything you do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Feingold. I'm here with Liz Milbank-Sobel, my co-president on the Parents Council. The Parents Council would like to congratulate the teachers, administrators, and staff who have received tenure this year.
This milestone is a recognition of the amazing work, connections, and contributions that you have fostered over these past few years in the district. It is a tangible celebration of the daily impacts, big and small, that you have on the lives of our children, for which we are very grateful.
We can't wait to see what you have in store for us between now and the faraway time of your own retirement celebrations. Speaking of retirements, it certainly was bittersweet to see the list of retirees this year. Of course, we wish all the retirees only the best in this next step in their lives, whether it be travel, spending more time with family, taking up a new hobby, whatever makes you happy, and all the things you never had time to do before. Go for it, because you certainly deserve it.
As happy as we are for you, we are equal parts sad to see so many treasured educators, true experts in their field, leave the district. We are comforted by the knowledge that the lessons you taught your students, the traditions you started in your buildings, and the advice you shared with us parents and your colleagues, perhaps even the newly tenured educators here today, will always be a part of the lives you've impacted.
While my path has not crossed with all of the honorees here today, I would like to personally thank a few of the retirees who impacted my kids' lives and therefore my life. Ms. Mullins, thank you for all of your advice over the years, delivered with kindness and warmth. You were a calming influence during times that seemed anything but. Thank you, Ms. Anzalone, for making learning fun as well as meaningful, whether by having a bathtub in your classroom, directing your first graders in a stage production of the Three Billy Goats Gruff, or sending all their writing projects home at the end of the year in a decorated pizza box. Kudos to you for teaching the kids to both embrace the current moment with a mindfulness practice, but also set goals and practice grit by emphasizing the power of yet. Dr. Hollis, thank you for mentoring kids during some of the most tumultuous years of their development, for providing a haven during lunch and recess for those who needed it, and for meeting kids where they are, while also encouraging their growth by understanding that where they are in 6th grade is not necessarily where they will end up in 8th grade.
I would also like to personally thank a few of the retirees and teachers receiving tenure who impacted my and my children's lives. Ms. LaLena, Ms. Devine, and Mr. Kabrinsky, and Ms. Rex, Ms. Salazar, and Ms. Kearns, thank you. You are each master educators, and whether my kids were lucky enough to learn from you or I spent time with you in the building, I truly appreciate all you have done to support and nurture our school communities. Thank you for your humor, professionalism, many kindnesses, and deep commitment to our district and our community. Thank you to all of our retirees and teachers receiving tenure for your continued service and for all you have done to support our children and our families. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stacy Patterson. I'm one of the co-presidents of the SUSA HSA. And on behalf of the SUSA HSA and Kate Tracy, my co-president, I would like to extend our sincere congratulations to our teachers who received tenure and to those who are retiring. SUSA prides itself on not just teaching children the fundamentals of education, but also in graduating children who are kind and SUSA strong. The tenured staff we're recognizing tonight have not just shown commitment to these principles, but consistency, year after year, student after student. And to those retiring, what an incredible legacy you're leaving behind. I'm 40 years old, and I can barely remember my Gmail password, but I remember the names of every single one of my elementary school teachers. You've shaped so many lives in so many ways that you may never fully see, but trust me, the parents see it, and the children will remember. My kids, I'm a crier, I'm sorry. My kids were lucky enough to have 2 of tonight's honorees. And I just want to say, I really hope that's not why they're retiring. But if it is, I apologize. I see you, Miss Waska. I see you. But in all seriousness, we're very grateful for everything you've done. Congratulations on what's to come.
All right. Thank you very much for those very nice comments. In a few moments, we will have a reception for all tenure recipients, retirees, and their guests in the cafeteria. I would like to thank the Education Foundation for co-sponsoring this reception with the district. Their generosity and commitment to the district is greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank Cindy Lister and Susan Martingano, 2 of our colleagues in central office, for their work behind the scenes to make this evening run so smoothly. I will now turn the meeting back over to our board president, Mr. Smith, for a motion to recess to tenure and retiree reception.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Shields, and congratulations again to all of our tenure recipients and retirees. Just to echo what Dr. Shields said, we want to give a big thank you to the Ed Foundation, who's, as always, hosting the reception, which is outside in the faculty cafeteria. Those of us who are not so lucky as to not have to come back here, we will be coming back in 20 minutes or so at 7:30. So anybody who wants to participate in the budget hearing will be back here in about 20 minutes. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to recess briefly. Do I have a second? Ms. Melkonian, all in favor? 7-0. We are recessed. We'll see you all in the reception, and we'll be back in 20 minutes.
I'll be here all the time. You call, I'm here. Good, man. How are you?
And I just like awkwardly hold the copy, and I was like,
Are we live still? Oh, awesome. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene in public session. Do we have a second? Ms. Epstein, all in favor? 6-0. We are reconvened. Oh, do we have a clerk? Yes, we do. I hadn't even looked. Okay. At this time, I'd like to call on the district clerk to take a roll call.
Adam Smith,
Here?
Julie Epstein,
Here.
Sandra Alvarez,
here.
Deborah Brooks,
Here.
Rachel Gilliar,
She's not present and not returning.
Nanette Melkonian,
Here.
Jessica Mawani,
Here.
Kaylin Costello.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Before we turn to tonight's agenda, I would like to briefly acknowledge that May is a time of important recognitions across our community. We continue to celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week and National Nurses Week, and we also recognize Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, and Jewish American Heritage Month. Each serves as an opportunity to reflect, to learn, and to recognize the many individuals and experiences that strengthen our school community, along with others we may not be naming this evening. As we all know, May is one of the busiest and most exciting times of the year in our schools. Across the district, we are seeing award ceremonies, concerts, and athletic events, while at the high school, advanced placement exams are currently underway. Our schools are truly buzzing with activity and accomplishment. Turning to tonight's agenda, our focus is the adopted 2026 to 2027 budget. This is a fiscally sound plan that reflects careful planning and is designed to meet the needs of students across all schools and all levels of instructions. It includes targeted program enhancements, continued investment in our facilities, and maintains our commitment to keeping class sizes below board policy. In addition to the budget, voters will consider two propositions. One proposes funding an already established repair reserve for future unanticipated, non-recurring repairs. The second authorizes the use of existing capital reserve funds for electrical and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning upgrades, supporting the continued safety, efficiency, and reliability of our facilities. Importantly, both propositions are funded through existing reserves and available fund balance and would have no additional tax impact on residents. We are proud to present a budget that is both comprehensive and within the tax levy cap. It reflects the thoughtful planning, foresight, and collaboration of our district leadership and our business office, and it positions the district to continue supporting students at a high level while planning responsibly for the future. Following the presentation, we welcome questions and comments from the community and encourage that engagement as part of this important process. With that, I will ask Dr. Posse to give the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good evening, everyone. I want to echo some of your words regarding Teacher Appreciation Week. Our teachers, as you know, bring our work to life in classrooms every day through the relationships they build, the expectations they set, and the care they bring. They help students engage, build confidence, and grow. Their impact is felt across our schools every single day, and it was a true pleasure to recognize so many of them this evening on receiving tenure. And it was so sad to wish our retirees the best as they go on to their next chapter. So to our teachers, we thank you for being the lifeblood of our schools. I also want to recognize the role our community partners play in supporting our schools. Many of you saw the 25-hour, 100-mile run led by Steve Panzik in support of our Ed Foundation. The event raised more than $30,000 for the Ed Foundation, and it reflects a community that values its schools and invests in its students. The Ed Foundation helps expand opportunities for our students beyond what a school budget alone can provide, and we're grateful for their continued support. On tonight's agenda, the board is asked to accept a generous gift from the Viking Sports Foundation on behalf of the Dejana Foundation. This significant donation will support a new video scoreboard at Schreiber and provide scholarships for student athletes. We're grateful to the Viking Sports Foundation for seeking this donation out, and we're incredibly grateful to the Dejana Foundation for funding it. Hearts is another important school partner. Their support helped make this year's Night of Jazz a truly special experience for our students and contribute to our continued recognition for the 12th consecutive year as one of the best communities for music education. I also want to highlight the recognition of Manor Haven Elementary as a model school. Manor Haven earned this designation through a rigorous application process initiated by Dr. Mace, the school's principal. The application highlighted the school's deliberate redesign of core instructional systems over time, including strengthening instruction, early literacy practices, and support for multilingual learners. These efforts, supported by strong teaching and a district-wide focus on early literacy, have led to measurable gains. Congratulations to Dr. Mace and the entire Manor Haven team for this impressive recognition. Let me now turn to Weber Middle School. Throughout the month of May, Weber will be recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month with a series of activities focused on student well-being, including wellness programming, school-wide events, and opportunities for students to engage in community service. Their initiatives include a tech timeout day once a week where students are encouraged to disconnect from their devices. Finally, where students are encouraged to disconnect from their devices. They will also have therapy animals in, and they'll have other events just focused on mental health and well-being, and we applaud the mental health team at Weber Middle School for leading this initiative. So finally, let me turn to tonight's agenda. Tonight, we'll host a budget hearing to discuss the 26-27 school district budget. The governor and legislature have not yet reached an agreement on the state budget. There are early signals that foundation aid will remain in a similar overall range, although we are still hopeful for an increase. As we hold the budget hearing this evening, I do want to note that our state aid projections are based on the most recent state aid runs associated with the governor's proposal. If the final enacted budget includes additional foundation aid beyond those projections, that would represent additional, currently unbudgeted revenue to the district. We will continue to monitor the situation closely, keep the board and community updated as more definitive information becomes available. Let me now turn to the assistant superintendent updates, starting with our deputy superintendent, Dr. Shields.
Thank you. So our last enrollment report was calculated on April 29th. So for kindergarten through 12th grade, we have 5,082 students. This compares to 5,262 students this time last year. So that's a decrease of 180. By way of an update for the board on our incoming kindergarten class, we're expecting approximately 368 kindergartners so far, both between those that have completed the registration process and those that are in the midst of the registration process. If we were to combine those two numbers, we have approximately 309 students enrolled so far of the anticipated 368. I'll continue to give the board and the community updates as this process unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. There's also an item on tonight's agenda related to the Salem Roof Project. I'd like Ms. Manuel to just speak about that.
Thank you. So on tonight's Board of Ed agenda, you will be asked to approve a contract with Renew Contracting and Reconstruction. This is a contract for roofing at South Salem Elementary School. You may recall that beginning in the 21-22 fiscal year, the district has maintained a 5-year roofing plan to ensure that all of the buildings are under warranty and protected. As part of the 21-22 capital improvement plan, the district replaced approximately half of the roof at Salem. This is the section where most of the classrooms are. The district had hoped to complete the balance of the roof as part of the 24-25 transfer to capital, but based on the escalation in material costs, the available funding only covered 50% of that. So in last year's, well, really current year's 25-26 transfer to capital, the South Salem roof was scheduled. So this contract will cover the balance of that building, and we will be finished with all the buildings district-wide, and they'll all be under a 20-year warranty. So that will put the district in a much better place than you were about 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Thank you, Ms. Manuel. I'd like to now turn to our student ex officio board member, Kaylin Costello, to give her report.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by congratulating Leah Chung on being elected as next year's ex officio student board member. I'm so excited to see Leah step into this role. Over the next month, I look forward to working closely with her, sharing my experiences, offering advice, passing along my notes, and providing as much support and encouragement as possible. I'm also eager to share ideas that I haven't yet been able to put into action so she can make the most of her time in this position next year. Congratulations again, Leah. Over the past month, I met with 7 fourth grade students from Guggenheim, 2 fifth grade, 2 fourth grade, and 2 third grade students from Salem, and 5 fifth grade students from Sousa, asking them the same facility-focused questions that I previously asked students from Manor Haven, Weber, and Daly. Tonight, I would like to highlight the major themes, recurring concerns, and some of the unique perspectives from each of these 3 schools. Across all 3 schools, several common themes emerged. One of the most consistent concerns was temperature inconsistency in classrooms. Students described rooms that are often too hot or too cold, with limited control over heating and air conditioning. Alongside this, students at multiple schools reported technology issues, including smartboard malfunctions, Chromebook glitches, and general reliability concerns. Another major theme was bathroom conditions. Students across schools described issues such as broken sinks, flooding, unpleasant odors, and cleanliness concerns, many of which they attributed to both facility limitations and student behavior. Food quality and cafeteria experience also came up repeatedly, with students noting long lunch lines, limited time to eat, and concerns about food quality and variety. Each school also highlighted unique issues. At Guggenheim, students emphasized technology frustrations, including overheating smartboards and lagging devices, as well as concerns about playground structure, such as only 1 swing set, supervision during recess, and limited equipment for sports during recess. Students report that they are comfortable in their classrooms and enjoy the smaller class sizes. They also expressed a desire for more privacy in the boys' bathroom and to be grouped with more similar age groups during lunch. I was so excited to hear that they are working on getting entertainment during lunchtime, such as Bach to rock music. Salem students brought attention to facility challenges, including insect issues in classrooms, malfunctioning sinks, unstable furniture, strong odors or noise from outside when classes open their windows, and the lack of a designated pep room, which they noted every other school has. Salem students also discussed their desire for more privacy in bathrooms regarding the gaps in stalls. Some students expressed a desire to upgrade the playground, and I was happy to hear that Salem is working on adding new things to the playground and recess spaces based on survey results. At Sousa, students reported positive classroom conditions, particularly noting no temperature or furniture concerns, but raised concerns about aging equipment like speakers and whiteboards, as well as a lack of air conditioning in the gym. Students loved the newly renovated playground, but expressed concerns about the cafeteria food. They also noted that sinks are sometimes broken and that bathroom cleanliness has improved since the removal of paper towels since they were repainted. I'd now like to raise 2 issues that students are consistently bringing up. The first issue I would like to bring up is parking. Recently, our district was featured in the news due to parking concerns, particularly involving students parking at the train station and creating tensions with commuters. Shire students are asking if this situation is being addressed and if there's any further information about this issue. Second, the issue of paper towels in bathrooms. The district has made the decision to switch to environmentally friendly hand dryers to address concerns about vandalism, budgetary constraints, and environmental impact. However, some students still express a desire to have these paper towels back. Students from Daly, Manor Haven, and Guggenheim all expressed frustration about the lack of paper towels and a strong preference for having them available. Sousa students acknowledged the absence but said they don't mind it, noting that removing paper towels has helped with cleanliness. Salem students reported having both paper towels and hand dryers. However, students did not mention paper towels when discussing bathrooms. Lastly, Shire students have consistently complained about the lack of paper towels in bathrooms. This raises an important question. While hand dryers may reduce certain types of misuse, many students feel that paper towels are more effective, more sanitary, and more convenient. Given the consistency of this feedback across the district, I brought this issue up to Dr. Baer, and we are setting up a meeting with Mr. Graham to discuss this issue. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Costello. It sounds like you did a lot of good work meeting with all the students, and definitely unearthed a lot of the concerns that we've all heard throughout the years. And I think that the good news is a lot of it is, some of it is being addressed in the budget as we slowly are able to increase the very aging facilities that we have here. That being said, regarding your two questions asking for follow-up, it does sound like you're on the right track with Dr. Barron and Mr. Graham regarding the paper towels. And I'm sure you are also aware, we're all aware of the situation with the North Hempstead parking district. Obviously, that was a town issue that the district really has nothing to do with. However, I'm sure, are you in touch with Dr. Baer around parking as well? Great, so maybe you can give us an update on where those two issues land at the next board meeting. That's okay with everybody. Great, thank you so much, and congratulations. We look forward to working with you as well. Okay, is that the end of the report? Yes. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to community comments. At this time, we will take general community comments. Reminder, we do have a budget hearing, so there will later be an opportunity to speak with some direct engagement on topics specifically related to the budget, as is normal during the budget hearing process. So going to our regular community comments, as a reminder, each speaker has 3 minutes to speak. Please say your name when you approach the microphone. Questions that are asked and are practical to answer will be addressed at the following meeting. At this time, I believe we have 2 people signed up, starting with Kara Miller and followed by Pedro Avia.
Is it? Okay. Hi, my name's Kara Miller. I'm here tonight to represent a community of people advocating for the district to provide certified Orton-Gillingham intervention to our dyslexic students and struggling readers. A statement of support has been written and is circulating the community, gaining signatures. A copy has been made available to the board tonight. Rather than reiterating that statement this evening, I'd like to share the journey of my own dyslexic child and how her story impacts other struggling readers in our district. My dyslexic child is privately placed while her 2 siblings remain in the district. She is also intellectually gifted, a profile known as twice exceptional.
Ms. Miller, typically it's the board's policy to not discuss personal matters, and particularly relating to student matters. So I'm just going to
go into detail about anything. It's just about her personal experience of being dyslexic before she received Orton-Gillingham out of district because it was not available within the district, versus afterwards, after a year of getting these services, how she feels about herself now and how we were able to do that for her because we had the financial means to do that. So our child has, I'm going to go back to what I had written out. I understand what you're saying. So she had struggled with foundational reading skills. She was given Orton-Gillingham as suggested by a neuropsych evaluation. The private school took that under consideration. And within 1 school year, she was able to graduate from OG services, which just highlights the fiscal reality that intensive, short-term, gold standard intervention is far more cost-effective than years of ineffective reading support. It's a story that we want for every child in the district. but currently that success is locked behind a paywall. We cannot have a system where a child's literacy is dependent on their family's economic means. And to provide, if you don't want to get too personal, I did have my daughter draw pictures that I can just put into the folder about her experience, what it felt like to be a dyslexic child at school before she received Orton Gillingham. And in this picture, she's drawn herself. She's confused, the letters are scribbled, and if you get a closer look, you'll see the irony of a backward question mark, that even though she's graduated and she's reading with fluency, that the dyslexic brain just processes the world in a different way. I asked her to also draw a picture after she had graduated from her OG services, and you'll see that she physically drew herself larger on the page. It says, "I love reading." And I think the importance of these pictures from a student perspective, from a child who went through this.
30 seconds.
It just goes to show that it's not just, her progress was not just about phonics. It was about how she values herself within the world around her. We have the opportunity to change that internal narrative for all struggling readers within our district. They need to know they are smart, they are capable, they simply learn differently. We are asking the district to provide gold standard Orton Gillingham to all dyslexic and struggling readers to ensure that a child's ability to read and their self-worth is not dependent on their family's financial ability to seek private help. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Avia?
Thanks, everyone, for giving us your attention to this important matter. My name is Pedro Avila. I'm one of the town leads for the Port Washington chapter of OK to Delay, an organization dedicated to empowering the community to develop healthy technology habits that foster healthier childhoods. I want to address the device lease discussion, and I'll start by acknowledging the most legitimate concern on the other side, which is remote learning, I believe. Snow days cost instructional time, and school-issued devices make remote learning feasible. That's a genuine operational constraint, and it's probably why we're here talking about it. But let me ask the board to hold that question separately from the pre-K question, because they're not the same question at all, in my opinion. On pre-K, I would respectfully suggest that removing devices from pre-K students shouldn't even really require a debate. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no more than 1 hour of screen time per day for children ages 2 to 5, and that's for high-quality content watched with a parent. School-issued devices are not that. The developmental science here is not contested. Screens in early childhood are associated with delays in language development, reduced attention span, and less time in the physical and social play that is, quite literally, how young children's brains develop. I don't know if pre-K is subject to the 180-day calendar mandate. If it's not, that means the snow day rationale doesn't even apply to these kids at all, and that there's no compelling educational argument for providing devices in pre-K. So that should be pretty straightforward. If pre-K is subject to the 180-day calendar mandate, it falls alongside a broader device question across all grades. In this case, I would ask the board to flip the burden of proof. We're renewing a lease, which means we're actively choosing to continue something. And the question shouldn't be, can anyone prove that these devices are harmful? Rather, the question should be, what evidence do we have that they're producing educational outcomes that justify the cost, the distraction, and the risk? A policy that required no evidence to be introduced should require none to be deprecated or repealed. Look, the picture is not encouraging. A decade into widespread device adoption in schools, we have declining reading scores, rising rates of anxiety and attention disorders, and classrooms where teachers are in a battle against the very tools they've been asked to use. And the devices have not made a strong case for themselves. I'm not asking the board to eliminate devices tomorrow. I'm asking for something narrower. Before renewing this lease, let's establish what problems we're actually solving and whether the number of devices we're issuing is matched to that problem. Pre-K is just the obvious place to start. Thanks.
So normally we don't respond in kind, and I know you didn't ask a specific question, but I do want to just note for the audience that we are in fact removing devices from pre-K for next school year. So I think that was also told to you. I think you got an email saying that, I'm not sure, but we are making that decision for next year. And we will also be having a presentation in June. We're not sure of the date yet, where we are, are we sure it's the 16th? That's the plan, okay. on June 16th, where we are asking the administration to lay out exactly what you just said, which is the explanation for the need for devices in each age level. So all valid. Broadly, the board shares the concern, and so does the administration, and it does have to be followed carefully. So do we have any additional speakers? Okay, so with that, oh, we did. Come on up, just if you don't mind stating your name.
Hi, my name is Diana Delgado Collar. I'm a Sousa parent of 3, 2 of them in Sousa. I came to speak to you today about AI, and I had a lot of facts and figures, and then something came up. So what I wanted to talk to you about AI was just sort of a philosophy I wanted to share, if maybe you're considering, or maybe we are going down that road now or in the future, is that right now there's a level of uncertainty. We know that AI can do a lot of things, and we know that AI can do a lot of things well, but not all the things well. So we don't know what the future holds really. We can only guess. But what we do know is that what separates us from AI, even a successful AI, is our humanity. And literally what I mean is like our being human. So our ability to show empathy, to make eye contact. So perhaps what we should be focusing on as far as our curriculum and what might set us apart from other schools that are perhaps trying to compete with AI and all the advances, is to focus back on that, on our humanity and what makes us human. So literature, languages, arts, music, those are all the things I'm speaking about. So I wanted to go more in detail in that, but that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to speak to you about AI, except what happened was that, and to Mr. Avila's point, is that there was a universal pre-K sort of to-do in our family. My son is entering the pre-K program, the 4s. And so this became a really real situation. Now financially for my family, it makes the most sense to enter schools such as, Daily, the universal pre-K. But the idea that he would be exposed to technology, to an iPad, is something that really sort of had us thinking twice, and we're still on the fence about it. And I understand I received a communication about how this will change for next year. I would appreciate more details. And also, though, in addition to just an iPad and being handed that, I also wanted to know how they're taught. So, like, I know at the elementary school level, they're taught on screens, for instance. So I wanted, they'll be shown a YouTube video. So exactly how much of it is being used in pre-K, and also if you can answer the why. So all this to say, if you look at the data, be that I'm speaking about preschool, but I also have elementary school students, and I find no reason why in elementary school there is such a reliance on tech, and they have to shuttle these devices back and forth, and they're used for so many things, and testing, and weekly, and so I just feel like if you look at all this to say, if you look at the facts, if you look at some research, we are no better off today than we were before introduction to tech in schools, and I beg of you to please reconsider this stance, and I think that we are moving forward by reconsidering pre-K, but hopefully we can do a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, we're going to move on. Are there any additional speakers? Actually, before I do that, we'll close community comments. Okay. Thank you to all of our speakers. At this time, we're going to move on to our discussion item, which is the annual budget hearing. And this process is a little bit different than our normal discussions. We will ask Ms. Manuel and Dr. Posse to present the budget presentation, and the board will be asked if they have any questions. Typically, we don't, because we've already seen this and we have opportunity. So at that time, we will invite community members to the podium with questions or comments specifically as they relate to the budget. The board may choose to respond to questions and comments if necessary and appropriate. We may defer them to Ms. Manuel or Dr. Posse. At this time, we look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just by way of background, on April 14th, the Board of Education unanimously adopted the proposed 26-27 budget of approximately $205 million, representing a 3.25% tax levy increase that remains within the allowable limit under New York State law. So Ms. Manuel and I are going to go through with you what is included in the budget, some of the investments that we're making, as well as the other propositions that, that voters will be asked to consider. So first, the process of developing the budget has been underway for several months. We began with discussions grounded in student achievement data to ensure our work remains anchored in student outcomes. The budget we'll discuss tonight is forward-looking. It's designed to strengthen foundational instruction, improve coherence across classrooms, expand student opportunities, and address our facilities and operational needs. Each step of the budget development process has been guided by the district's priorities and long-term goals grounded in our mission, vision, and portrait of a graduate. The portrait of a graduate is our North Star. And at the very start of the school year, we developed the 25-26 priority areas, which are built on a strong foundation. You've heard me say this before if you've been to our budget presentations. Our district is in a position of strength. Our students achieve at high levels, our staff is deeply committed to their work, and our community supports our schools. Because of that strength, our work is focused on continuous improvement. We're building on what's already working well to ensure that our schools remain responsive and prepared for the future. These priority areas that you see on the screen guide both the work and the investments reflected in the budget. And I'm now going to ask Ms. Manuel to go through the numbers with you.
So our proposed budget remains under the tax levy limit for Port Washington, carrying a tax levy of $172,440,274. The budget-to-budget appropriation is $205,824,844, which represents a 3.43% change over the prior year. And again, this requires a simple majority vote to pass, as it is underneath the tax levy. These are the summary of growth drivers. And this is a three-part budget that we've discussed before: the administrative budget, the capital budget, and the program budget. This is the estimated revenue. You can see that the state aid, we're seeing an increase of about $1.5 million here. This has helped us with this year's budget, along with the retirement. So this is the budget, again, the $205 million. And this is the proposition number 2. As we know, proposition number 1 is the overall appropriation budget. Proposition number 2 is authorization to fund the repair reserve. This will have no impact to the tax levy. And this is really allowing us to use funds that were left over from prior years for non-recurring expenses for the district for major repairs. Proposition 3 is the capital reserve fund. This is asking to use $4 million. There is $4 million in the reserve, and it's asking to use $3.5 million of that reserve to spend on HVAC upgrades district-wide. So this has no impact to the tax levy. It is funds that are already there. If this is not approved, the funds would just remain in this reserve.
So thank you, Ms. Manuel. So with that, I'd like to briefly highlight the key investments reflected in this budget. So 73% of our budget is made up of staffing. So this slide shows you the staffing allocations that we have, the changes to staff mix that we have included in the budget. And what I want to do is briefly just highlight the key investments. So you'll see we're making a significant investment in teaching positions. The budget includes the addition of 5.6 teachers. Among these are instructional coach positions, a music teacher to enhance the high school choral program and provide increased lesson rotations at the middle school, a business teacher to support increased course demand, a special education teacher to expand integrated co-teaching, an adaptive physical education teacher to support students across multiple elementary schools, and an additional elementary math AIS teacher to respond to student needs. Several of these additions are connected to a broader instructional strategy focused on supporting strong classroom instruction. The budget includes a director of mathematics, business, and computer science to provide pre-K through 12 leadership in these content areas. This role is designed to strengthen alignment in curriculum, instruction, and assessment across grade levels and schools to ensure that we're able to support teachers in a coordinated way across the district. We are continuing our focus on foundational literacy and mathematics through the continued implementation of our phonics program, the rollout of our math program, and professional learning that supports high-quality instruction. We're increasing access to advanced coursework and creating more flexible pathways, particularly at the middle and high school level. This includes revising our middle school acceleration model, expanding high school course offerings, such as AP Seminar, Business, Music, and Accelerated Mathematics sequences. We're also expanding integrated co-teaching, academic intervention services, and adaptive PE, while maintaining E&L staffing support to support multilingual learners. Together, these efforts ensure that students receive timely and targeted support across our schools. In the area of facilities improvement, safety and security, operations, and technology infrastructure, the budget supports our long-term plan with targeted improvements across our buildings. These include expanding HVAC, upgrades, air conditioning to complete all second-floor classrooms, improvements to lighting, flooring, and doors across multiple schools. We're continuing enhancements such as upgrades to cameras, perimeter fencing, and secure entry points, along with improvements at student spaces like the playground at Guggenheim. The budget includes replacement of aging transportation equipment, including a district bus, as well as the addition of an electric vehicle to improve efficiency on private school runs. Finally, we are investing in Wi-Fi upgrades at the elementary level, device refreshes as a result of our regular equipment rotation schedule for students and staff, and printer replacements to ensure reliable systems that support instruction. And as Mr. Smith had mentioned before, Ms. LaGuardia has been in conversation with the preschool teachers, and they've mutually determined that iPads are not necessary at the preschool level. Those devices will be removed from the preschool classrooms, and we'll have a very targeted discussion on device use at our June Board of Education meeting, where we'll go through some of the data. So there is a transfer to capital, which I'll ask Ms. Manuel to just discuss.
And before I discuss the transfer to capital, I think our presentation got a little mixed up. We did have one specifically. This looks like a budget adoption. But I did want to discuss some of the things that have been done to reduce the tax levy. As in prior years, we've used $2 million to offset the tax levy for 26-27. These are funds that we're having left over from the current year's spending. Some of the revenue came in higher, and we had lower expenditures than initially planned. We're using $400,000 of the ERS retirement reserve. We're using $300,000 of the TRS reserve, and we're also using $100,000 of the employee benefits accrued liability reserve. And at the end of this year, the projections for our fund balance look like we will be able to replenish those reserves. So this is all part of the reserve plan that the district has. We have about 5 or 6 different reserves. So adding this other reserve, the repair reserve, is really a way to get us to where we need to be. And also the transfer to capital, we're doing a $4.4 million transfer to capital. Again, that's for Guggenheim flooring and abatement. We're also doing the daily roof masonry and HVAC for $1.7 million, and then the Manor Haven retaining wall as well for $2.5 million.
So let me just briefly review what will appear on the ballot. Again, the budget vote is set for May 19th. We hope that everyone will participate in the budget process to make sure their voice is heard. On the ballot, you will see 3 propositions along with the annual Board of Education trustee election. So the first proposition is the adoption of the 26-27 school district budget. The second proposition is to fund the district's repair reserve. And as Ms. Manuel said before, this reserve functions like a savings account and would be funded through surplus funds as available from the district's general fund. As a result, it does not impact the 26-27 tax levy. The repair reserve would only be used for unanticipated repairs that become necessary during the school year, such as this year's unanticipated repair for the Weber HVAC system, or the unanticipated repair related to lightning strike on our transformers. Without the repair reserve, what the district does is it shifts funds from other areas of the budget and delays other previously budgeted items in order to address the needed repair. So the repair reserve would allow us to have a specific reserve where we're able to access for that purpose. So again, there is no impact on the 26-27 tax levy if this repair reserve is approved, because it would be funded through any existing fund balance that may be available. And at the end of the school year, what Ms. Manuel and I will do is we'll discuss with the board what our fund balance looks like, and we'll make a recommendation as to the level of which to fund that reserve. Proposition 3 is to authorize the use of existing funds in the district's capital reserve for electrical and HVAC upgrades across the district. Much of our HVAC equipment has exceeded its useful life. We've already experienced failures at Weber, which I already discussed, the Annex, and Guggenheim that require replacement. Using this repair reserve would allow us to use the money that voters had previously designated for that purpose in order to complete those replacements. So, as well as other HVAC projects across the district. So voter approval for this also does not impact the 26-27 tax levy, because those funds have already been set aside for this purpose. We now need voter approval to access those funds and use it. If this proposition is not successful, the money in the capital reserve cannot be used for any other purpose. It simply will remain in the capital reserve until voters approve its use. And again, its use is limited to the purpose that it was set up for, which is for HVAC upgrades. And finally, there's the election of 2 Board of Education trustees, and that is the final item on the ballot. So with that, we conclude our presentation, and we're happy to take any questions from the board or the community.
Great. Do any trustees have any questions? Thank you. At this time, we move to the Q&A portion of our budget hearing. So we'd like to invite any community members to the podium who may have questions or comments specifically relating to the budget. So, okay. So with that, we're going to close the
I saw one of the bullet points that was addressing dyslexia, dysgraphia, and one other thing. I was just wondering if you could expand on what type of specific investments are being made with those areas as the focus.
Sure. I'll let Dr. Posse answer that.
Sure, yes. So we are, as part of our professional learning plan, we are investing in bringing in professional learning specifically to address dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia. And those professional learning opportunities will be provided to staff, K-12. There'll be very targeted professional learning on those specific areas so that teachers can use those, the things that they learn in the professional learning right away.
Okay, but there's nothing specific yet in regards to what type of professional learning it will be?
Oh, Ms. Allen and Dr. Feeney are coordinating what that professional learning will look like. It typically looks like workshops. It typically looks like PD opportunities during either during superintendent's conference days throughout the course of the year, or people coming in and working specifically with particular departments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional questions?
So I know we all up here know the answer to this question, but for people who may be new to the process, Dr. Posse, you mentioned what would happen if Proposition 3 were not approved. What would happen if Proposition 1, which is the main budget, is not approved?
Yes, that's a great question. So if Proposition 1, which is the budget vote, is not approved, the board has a few options at its disposal. Option number 1 is to put back up the exact same budget, again, for a revote. Option 2 is to make changes to the budget and put a revised budget up for a revote. And option 3 is to go straight to a contingency budget. Now, if the board decides to put the budget up for a revote and that fails, well, whether it's the same budget or a revised budget, then the district automatically goes to a contingency budget. A contingency budget would mean that we are unable to do the transfer to capital, which you saw in Ms. Manuel's presentation, which addresses some very necessary repairs as determined by our building condition survey. It also means that we have to remove approximately $5.6 million from the budget. And as we had said previously, 73% of the budget is reflective of staffing, and so that would have a real significant impact on our ability to deliver the program as we currently have it.
Thank you. Okay, do we have additional speakers before I'm going to close the? Okay, great. This time we're going to close the 26-27 public hearing. At this time, I'd like to move on to a motion to approve the March 27, 2026 Curriculum Committee meeting minutes, the April 15, 2026 Audit Committee meeting minutes, the April 24, 2026 Policy and Personnel Committee meeting minutes, and the April 28th BOE meeting minutes. Do we have a second? Ms. Alvarez, all in favor? 6-0, the meeting minutes are approved. Since our last meeting, only the Budget and Policy committees have met. I believe there's a Curriculum Committee meeting at 10 a.m. in the CAM Annex on May 15th. I'm sorry, Curriculum Committee meeting this Friday at 10 a.m. in the CAM Annex, and on May 15th in the CAM Annex, the Policy and Personnel Committee will meet. I'm going to check with Ms. Brooks and Ms. Epstein if either of you have committee reports.
We actually met before the previous meeting that we just had in late April, but we didn't give a committee report. I'll just say that there are 2 policies on for first read today. Of course, no sooner do we put student attendance on for a first read when the New York State School Board Association came out with an April update. Literally, as I was saying, go ahead and put it on for a first read. So the plan is to have the student attendance policy on for a first read tonight. We will take it back into committee to do the New York State School Board Association update, which is basically revising the portion on remote learning. And it's very boilerplate. I don't think there's anything that we really have to change in the NISPA recommendation. And then we'll bring it back for adoption, unless there are any comments tonight that need to be looked at in committee.
For budget and facilities, we basically closed out
year. We made this our last meeting unless something comes up and we have to emergently meet, but we talked about the lunch fund, we talked about the tax exemptions, which an update will be provided to the board in a packet. We're still looking into some aspects of that, as well as we discussed the facility fees, which we always post on our reorg, and the recommendation was that we will not be increasing them. We did increase them last year. And we did also have the beginning concepts of a revenue generator and wish list conversation. So we look forward to continue some of these items in the fall, or whoever is taking on the budget committee in the fall. Can I just add one thing on the audit committee? While the audit committee is not meeting again until June 17th, this is the time of year that we will have one open slot on the audit committee. It's an application process that will be going out after the May 19th budget vote, and we encourage community members that are interested in audit or interested in the deeper dive of our budget process to apply for the application and potentially join our committee. That will be posted on our website, and there'll be information about that, as I said, as of May 20th.
Thank you. This time, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull? No? Okay. So I'm going to make the motion, and then I'll give some thanks. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 16.1 through 20.1. Is there a second? Ms. Melkonian, all in favor? 6-0. The consent agenda is approved. The board would like to thank the following for their donations. Maura Mander for the donation of a clarinet to be used by students, and the Viking Sports Foundation and the DeJohnna Foundation for their donation funding a new video scoreboard for Whitney Field. Thank you again to all of our donors. This time, we have two policies on for first read, Policy 5100, student attendance, and Policy 5500, student records. Do any trustees want to speak to that? No? We don't always speak on first read. It's not an obligation. So, okay, great. So at this time, we're going to move to old business. First, I want to address, we have outstanding community comments. One is regarding a concrete AI policy for students and teachers, and also some questions regarding iReady in the news. We are going to be speaking in detail, I believe, about both of those topics in the June 16th technology meeting, but would you want to say something about iReady? Or I can as well.
Sure, yeah, of course. So, so with respect to iReady in the news, there's been some circulation, as you know, about a lawsuit for iReady that is in California. We've been in contact with iReady regarding that lawsuit. A couple of things to know. First is that in New York State, Ed Law 2D is perhaps one of the most comprehensive data privacy laws that that exist in the state of New York. In order for the district to do business with a ed tech company, they must agree to all of the provisions in Ed Law 2D. And that includes not sharing student information, not selling student information, and they sign an agreement indicating that they are adhering to that law. In addition, we purchase this service through Nassau BOCES. Nassau BOCES has their own agreements regarding that, regarding data protection as well. iReady, for what it's worth, iReady disputes the claims within the lawsuit. The group, they stated to us that the group that is suing them has sued other ed tech companies as well, and their comments to us is that they dispute the claims, and that they are adhering. They've assured us that they are adhering with Ed Law 2D. The next thing that I just want to highlight is that this is related to the iReady Universal Screener. We've had some comments about the use of our iReady mathematics program. What's important, I think, for the community to know is that the iReady mathematics program is, while it does have a MyPath component, where students use MyPath for the recommended 40 minutes a week, most of the program is a paper and pencil program. So, in fact, in most of our classrooms, most of the time, when you see math instruction, students are working out of their workbooks with manipulatives, with paper and pencil, working through the math programs. The MyPath portion of iReady is to be limited to 40 minutes per week, and that is isolated to specific skill development, whereas the math instruction that happens in the classroom is much broader than that.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to hand the floor to Ms. Brooks, who is our de facto NISBA resolutions chair / guru / maven / whatever else. So, Ms. Brooks, if you want to take the floor.
Okay, thank you. As I mentioned, I think 2 meetings ago, the New York State School Boards Association has their annual business meeting every October of the year, and at that meeting, it's held specifically to adopt resolutions that act as position statements so that the organization, which is the umbrella organization of all the member school boards in the state, can advocate with our elected officials. And and every year around this time, school boards across the state caucus their board members to decide, well, are there any resolutions that we think should be put forward to be voted upon in October? And so every year, around this time, I come to this board and I say, is there anything that anybody would like for a NISBA to advocate on behalf of Fort Washington, but really school boards in general? So it really shouldn't be something that is only unique to Port Washington, because we want other school boards to join us in the effort, because a majority rules at the school board budget, at the school board annual meeting. So having said that, I know that there are some school board members who have voiced interest in having resolutions put forward, and I can open it. Oh, you want? Sure, I'll do mine first. So a couple of years, well, for those of you who know me, when I first started advocating in this district against the state tests, I still don't like them, and now I like them even less because they're computer-based. And several years ago, I had suggested that we submit a resolution for voting at the NISBA annual business meeting to ask the state, before they require yet another unfunded mandate, and mandate that every single student in grades 3 through 8 test on the computer, that we ask NYSET or whoever to conduct research to see the efficacy of taking these tests on the computers. The resolution did not pass because I mushed in with that the fact that we didn't want this to be an unfunded mandate. And so I kind of synthesized 2 measures into one, and for that reason it failed. And I was told, come back in a couple of years when the whole program has rolled out. At the time, it was being piloted in some districts, and other students were still taking the tests with paper and pencil, which I thought would have been a great opportunity to see who's doing better, how are they doing. If we're going to give any validity at all to these tests, at least if we're going to make them be taken on computer, let's make sure we're doing the right thing by the students. So I'm back. Because ever since these computer-based testing was piloted, and we're going back many years now, there have been glitches. Students are losing instructional time. It's frustrating for the teachers. It's frustrating for the students. And I just think it's time to bring this resolution back, put some more meat on it, bifurcate it into the fully funded mandate portion of it, but also, do we really even need these? Can't we go back to paper and pencil? And by the way, these are federally mandated, so even if Port Washington or the state didn't want to give the exams, they're required by the Every Student Succeeds Act. So NYSET has its hands tied in that respect. So that's my thinking on those tests. So this would be
to research the efficacy, the viability, the validity of taking these tests on the computers, especially for kids who are, in third grade and they're typing away with their essays and doing math and things like that.
I have no problem moving forward with a bifurcated version of this. So thank you, Deb.
Just confirming, because you mentioned a lot, in addition to the actual resolution, just to confirm that the email that you sent us is the exact wording of the resolution, that you're looking at it's just for the research component, not the advocacy of either one.
Well, what I sent in the email, what the public sees in front of you is from the 23-24 round of voting. So this is already about 2 years old. This was the original resolution. I didn't draft anything beyond that because I didn't have board approval, and I thought, well, just in case nobody wants to do it. So this is a sense of what it would look like, but I would start from here and really fine tune it now that every student grades 3 through 8, and probably in middle school and high school in 1 year, have to take these tests by computer. So I would make it research, let's put a pause, and also, if you're going to make us do this, let's have it not be an unfunded mandate. Because as you know, in Port Washington at least, it was recommended to the board that we go with the touch screen on these computers. We have special computers with the touch screen to make the testing, I guess, more effective. I'm not quite sure. I have questions about that too. But if we're going to have these be mandated by the state, let it not be another unfunded mandate. Does that answer your question? So it would be 2 resolutions. I would actually break this out so that it wouldn't, I don't want to set it up to fail again. I like to learn from my mistakes.
I'm on board with the word research being the emphasis on the first resolution.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive of this. I think this research is an important fact base for all of the discussions that we're having, and especially the conversations our legislators should be having in Albany. So thank you.
Deb knows where I land on all of this.
So that's a yes?
Sounds good.
So I was hoping to get a sense of the board on whether we would support putting forth a resolution advocating for a pause on the state's universal pre-K implementation timeline until the state has completed a comprehensive facilities and feasibility study in collaboration with school districts. It's really important for lawmakers who will be making these decisions and setting these timelines to fully understand the extraordinary demands this is going to place on school districts that are already stretched so thin with respect to facilities improvement and expansion. And I think while we all recognize the importance of high quality, accessible early childhood education, we also recognize that it has to be implemented in a very thoughtful, responsible way that respects and supports school districts in building the capacity necessary to really serve their full communities in the best way possible. So that's what I'm thinking.
I will also support that, especially since there is zero flexibility in the funding we're receiving, which also limits our ability. So thank you for that.
While I support the need to look into the funding, it was actually, I think we gave an update that we met with our local legislators, and they did say that the governor is already looking into building funding. But as far as the resolution itself, the pause, the word that you used in your email, the pause, concerns me when it comes to the review of the funding that is going to be given, the higher funding. So I'll wait to see what you list, because I know you're going to look like a deeper dive and it's just a sense of the board. So my only concern with what you end up with the final wording is the pause part of what the funding would be for the students, because I'll take the higher funding, just not the required clauses. So just to clarify, that would be my only concern, is the way it's worded.
Yes, and I think that's an important distinction. Thank you for making it, because the
the way I had been thinking about the term pause was on the timeline for full implementation, not a pause on the funding we'll be receiving in the interim to expand the program. So I will make note and make sure that's clear in the language. Thank you.
Okay. I'm okay with it as we proposed it. Great.
I'm okay also. It's actually something I was thinking about as we were talking about the fact that we need a building and seats and bathrooms, and I think we're capped at, is it by law, is it 18 or 20 students per classroom? 18 per classroom, and where will we put these little people to keep them safe? And also we have staffing needs and so forth and so forth that go into this, and as laudable as it is, and as much as we appreciate the opportunity to educate the little ones in our midst, we need to be rational about the fact that we don't have facilities. I don't know that there are any preschools in our area that could absorb the entire population of preschool students in our midst. So
And certainly not
I
the
think
price
it's-
point.
I'm sorry?
And certainly not the price that we're able to
Correct.
pay them.
Correct, so
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Okay. And I believe Ms. Epstein.
And who's going to write this, by the way?
Would you like to collaborate, or would you like to?
I would love to collaborate then. Okay. Thank you. But you'll start. Yes, of course.
And Ms. Epstein, I think you had a proposal as well, right?
I did. So in the topic of AI, for those of you who know, I've been asking about AI things for several years now and have been watching us and trying and hoping to get ahead of the curve. So I'm trying to also look forward in a different AI lens. The framing of the exact resolution can be a little tricky that I'm proposing, but I want to make sure that the focus of what I'm suggesting is clear. I feel that local control of a school district is paramount, and we should still have local full authority of those things. And the focus of what I'm looking at is that AI must not replace certified educators. It must not be used to evaluate students, assigning grades that go on a student's record, conducting behavioral evaluations of students, and making high-stakes decisions about discipline, promotion, placement, or graduation. As our teacher pipeline is becoming limited, I could see that this could be a very quick answer for some organizations in public school settings, and I would hate to see that New York State falls into that. So that's the resolution I'm proposing. It would have to be worded very carefully, and I'd like to learn from Ms. Brooks's experience on her first resolution so that I don't put too much into it and confuse matters. But that's the direction I'm looking.
Ms. Brooks?
And are you looking to have NISBA advocate to our legislators to pass laws? So this would be actually passing a law?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm on board.
Yeah, so I'm on board with the concept of us making an AI policy. Personally, like, I'm not prepared at this table necessarily to go into the specifics of all the things you just said, which I think is something that, like, I don't know that we need to put our resources towards writing a policy to have NISBA advocate for how other districts use AI, but I would very much like to see us. I would love to see us advocate for local control, but I don't feel that we need to be determining like what the boundaries are of what AI is permitted for or not permitted for at a state level. Like, I think we should focus on our own. So you gave some things you want to carve out, and I don't see why we would want to advocate for that. We should advocate for local control of AI, and then we should focus on our own policy. And I think all the things that you mentioned, and maybe more, should be excluded for what's permitted, what AI is permitted to be used for in Port Washington. But I certainly don't feel comfortable asking NISBA to advocate for the state to require that broadly to all districts. I don't know why we would why that piece of it is important.
I'm focusing on teacher shortage. That's part of it that I would like them to advocate for. I do not want to use AI as a substitute for a certified human teacher.
Right, so I think we should have that in our Port Washington policy, but I don't know why we want to try to have the state dictate to other districts what they do. Like, I think local control should be dictated. I think we should, as a school board, we should be pushing for local control in all things, and then we should put appropriate policies in place locally. So that's my take on it.
Can I just add one more thing? I'll just say, New York State Eds establishes what qualifies as a certified educator, so that's why we would look to put a resolution towards the state level on the teacher certification.
Yeah.
That was the only framework I was thinking of.
But again, I just don't see I don't see why, like, I'm not seeing clearly why, like, our board's energy should go particularly towards that piece of it. I'm not sure how it impacts our, yeah, go ahead, Ms.
So maybe I can ask about an assumption that I'm making in this conversation from you, Ms. Epstein. Is the reason that we would advocate because we don't want the state telling us that we're cool that you don't have teachers in your classroom because you can use AI?
Yes, but I think that it's easier for certification of teachers that it would be a state level decision. That's why I'm advocating for the legal. But yes, on a local level, yes, you're accurately saying
I'm
it.
just saying that that's why it would be a state impacting local and why we would be pushing back on that preventatively. Yes? Okay.
I trust that you will show us a draft before you submit it, and we'll have another meeting on this. And just to clarify about the dictating of what other districts do, all school boards have an opportunity to vote on these resolutions. So Port Washington's not dictating anyone to do anything. It's a collective collaboration.
I didn't say we're dictating. I said we're asking NYSBA to advocate for the state to dictate to other school boards, which is something that I personally don't think we should do. You don't have to agree with it.
NYSBA wouldn't be doing it in silo. They would be getting the collective voice of the school boards.
Fully understand.
We have Ms. Brooks that goes and votes on behalf of us typically, hopefully next year also. So it's, again, I'm just saying it's not an actually.
I fully understand the process. What I'm saying is we are proposing a resolution for NYSBA to approve, which maybe other districts will or won't approve. We don't know, right? It's still work that we have to do to make the request to NYSBA to advocate for it. And ultimately, it's something that I personally don't think is necessary. But if you all do, I'm only one person, and that's it. But I think it's I think AI is very complicated. It's an extremely quickly evolving subject matter, and we as a board have. Ms. Epstein is right. We've been talking about this for 3 years that we need to have policy on it. Or a conversation about it. We've not had a substantive conversation about it, whether it's used in classroom, it's used by teachers, it's used by administrators. We've not had a substantive, because of that, we've not been able to have a substantive policy conversation about it. And I would rather see our energy on this very complicated topic used getting ahead of it at home. That's all.
And I apologize, I agree with you on that final point that I can see that they coexist in a timeline.
I was going to say we could do both, can't we?
Well, I don't know. We only have so much energy, and that's where I would want to put mine. Go ahead, Ms. Brooks.
So these are two separate issues, and the AI policy has been on our policy committee wish list now for 3 years. And believe me when I tell you, I really, as chairperson, I really want to get to it, but there are other policies that keep jumping out ahead of us, so just so the public understands, it is on our radar. Believe me when I tell you, it is on our radar. That's separate. The use of AI within the school district, by teachers, by students, whoever, is a different issue than going up to the state and saying AI should not supplant living human beings in the classrooms, which is what I understand this resolution to be. And I think that it would be worthwhile. Ms. Epstein's willing to put forward the effort to draft something for us. I think it's worthwhile to, because I think I have a sense that the majority of us are interested in seeing what it would look like. I think it's worthwhile. And there are entire school districts that are bigger than ours. They're countywide school districts that have AI policies. And some of them go beyond just what's happening in the classroom. It's actually saying what gets involved in teacher certification. So I think New York State may be a bit behind the 8 ball on this one, and a little push might not hurt. But let's see what it looks like.
So I know that Miss Epstein has boundless energy, so it's not really a choice of where she's putting her energy on this, and I trust that what she provides us with will be an excellent starting point for this conversation. I don't think the conversations are mutually exclusive, so I think whatever conversations subsequently happen around a district-focused policy, our conversations around any guardrails that Ms. Epstein is proposing, I think will lay a foundation for that and give us a sense of where we all stand going into those more in-depth policy development conversations. So I am supportive of this. I'm interested to see where your energy takes you and, and having this discussion and starting this discussion.
Okay, so we all like an action item. So let's have drafts because the resolutions are due to the New York State School Boards Association, I want to say July 17th. The meeting before that would be our board meeting / reorg. I imagine we're all going to be here. Before that then would be the June 17th meeting. There's no need to have everybody cram from May 19th. So is it 16th, 17th? Is that okay with everybody? Yeah? Okay, good. Thank you, everybody.
Any additional? Okay. Does anyone have any other new business? No? Okay. This time, we are going to move to our final opportunity for the community to be heard. Just a reminder, I guess I'll just say the same instructions from earlier still apply. Please refrain from providing any personal information about students or staff. So this time, if we have any speakers, feel free to step to the podium. I didn't check if anyone was signed in. Okay, we're going to close.
Tracy's going to go. All right, Will. Mr. Tracy.
Oh, always a delay. Come on, just when we thought.
Sorry, my wife is here first. I didn't take turns. So, I'm Will Tracy. I have 3 kids in the district. First of all, 2 quick things. One, I attended 2 concerts, the jazz concert and the Weber concert. I just want to compliment the music program in general. I think all the teachers are just unbelievable. They motivate the kids, they challenge the kids, and I was flabbergasted at seeing the progression that all the kids make, and I think the district should be very proud of what they've done, and really the staff going above and beyond. So I want to give that as a compliment because it's just, you know, and my kids aren't great musicians. It was just astounding to see. So that's my positive. I'm just going to plug away at the AI policy for the kids portion of it. It's going to affect kids and how they're rated, and in particular grading and the fairness of grading. So I just want to continue to be a broken record on that to say it's happening faster and will have profound impact on each kid's student ranking, quite frankly, as they proceed, particularly to the high school level. I don't know whether, I know there are a lot of things that are going on. I'm not dismissing that, but the time to have some form of policy, that there's some consistency, so that there's at least one standard that every kid is working towards, I think is imperative. So I just wanted to say that. And then the last thing I just want to say on a positive note, compliment family, is that, I really just want to thank a lot of just how engaged the SUSE staff is in general. I have a daughter graduating from there. My son graduated there and has another kid in there. I know Dr. Sheehan is leaving, but really it's been a great experience. And, as we come to the end of the year, I just want to compliment the whole staff. So thank you.
Okay. Are there any additional speakers? Okay. At that time, we are going to adjourn. Our next meeting will be on May 19th, which will be a late evening meeting for the budget vote results and acceptance. It will be held in the Weber multipurpose room sometime after 9 p.m. after all the ballots are counted. Our final meeting of the year will be on June 16th with, as always, executive session at 6:30 and public session at 7:30. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Ms. Alvarez, is second. All in favor? 6-0. We are adjourned. Okay.